Welcome back, everybody, to the Hearthstone Legendary Series, week number 8 Open Finals. It's been a long day so far, but we've been enjoying the games. Quite unbelievable end to that series with the back-to-back Alex Strauss Ice Block draw to end the Freeze Mage game. Now we go into the semifinals between 4 players. We have Reynad versus LonelyLink and Gooby Sencho versus UNC Tennis 23.
Yeah, so this first semifinal that we're going to be broadcasting, LonelyLink versus Reynad. Now, of course, whoever wins these 2 semifinal matches do move on to tomorrow, to the match day. So we'll have 2 players by the end of the day. And it is a stacked day already tomorrow, with players like Savish, Firebat, Amaz coming from last week as well. And then the invited players who are...
We have Tice. From Nihilum.
Yeah.
And then we have Gara and KitKats.
Tempo Storm versus Archon.
Yep. With some other players thrown in. Of course, one player who isn't on any of those teams, Gooby versus UNC. That's be happening in just a few minutes. But before we do that, we have Reynad versus LonelyLink. And let's see how these classes line up. We have Zoo versus Paladin, followed by Fatigue Mage versus Handlock, which is actually a really good match for the Fatigue Mage, I believe. And then Paladin versus Priest, which is good for Priest. So pretty even down the split.
Yeah.
I would say that I would favor Reynad slightly here, but I think it's just a marginal edge. There's still lots of things that these classes can interact with each other, but the most important thing is I think it'll be going to the blind pick stage, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Well, we saw firsthand in the last series just how quickly Zoo can tear down a Paladin, and not even with ideal draws, just with decent draws early on, if the Paladin isn't able to deal with some of the early creatures. So have to see, but definitely a solid lineup for both these guys. And no, never mind, they're both running Warlock. Other than the Warlock, it's a little bit pretty good deck diversity.
Oh wow, that is a great opening hand for both these guys.
One drops all across the board.
Muster for battle early on is so key against Zoo, just to force them to get weaker. The weapon is pretty clutch too. Double Undertaker with Clockwork Gnomes though. And jeez, I don't know.
If you can draw into
If
like a second 1-mana Death Rattle.
Iron was pretty good too. So that might make Reynad play Flame Imp here. And then next turn he just goes for 2/3s. What's interesting too is the mana usage of how everything goes across. So if he plays Undertakers, will he be tempted to play the Owl next turn? Oh my god. That's just nuts. He's going to get another cheap Death Rattle.
Now these, at least, next turn will actually be a little awkward, because it'll delay one of those muster for battles if he decides to silence one of these Undertakers.
I think he might have to, though.
Might have to delay it by using the...
Well, let's see. What's the pros and cons of each?
Well, Arabic Owl will take some immediate damage off the board, but he won't be able to clear the first Undertaker. Muster for battle will allow him to start chipping away.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot more quickly. And then next turn he can still Owl and then still be able to fit in a hero power. So, I mean, how much damage is he possibly going to lose? I think you have to muster here.
Reporting for duty.
So pretty good. Now if he gets another, like a 2-mana Death Rattle here.
Cloakfield.
Oh!
Jeez. 2 5 minions. Pretty ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah. And he's probably feeling pretty confident as well, because he buffs him like out of True Silver range, and there's like no possible way that he could deal with both those Undertakers.
Well, he's got...
Well, that's a possible way.
He's actually so effective.
Well,
yeah, actually, never mind. It's not as effective as when I analyzed the board.
Yeah.
Everything else had 1 health.
Yeah.
Everything still has 1 health. It doesn't really matter. You just squeeze into hero power.
Yeah. Preserve a Actually, you wouldn't even, because you'd be using a quality instead of a. You'd just be using one additional hero power.
Right.
I mean, there's still you still have to deal with the.
It's
being
actually
Undertaker next turn.
it's actually really important against the Doom Guard.
That's very true. Holding on to it seems. Ooh, Rusty Horn.
Wow, he's bluffing Quartermaster. That is interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, he's got no reason to. He's got no reason not to play Defender of Arcus. The
Whoa.
question is whether or not he wants to play Cleanup.
He's at 9 health already.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Probably has to equality here.
Yeah, I'd say so. But he can't. I don't think he can really afford to clear it with his weapon.
He's gonna have to use his guys. I don't think I'd mind seeing a second muster for battle right here. Big Game Hunter also accomplishes the same thing. It puts out a pretty good number of power. It's just it's more consistent with like the Quartermaster possibility and whatnot.
Yeah, I think though you have to play Big Game Hunter to have more power on the board.
Sure.
I mean, you're worried about Doomguard in this situation, and Big Game Hunter would be a lot more effective because otherwise you wouldn't be able to kill a Doomguard that comes out this next turn.
Well, you can, but it's painful.
Yeah. Well, you would die.
Right.
So I think you just Doomguard and go face. It's. I mean, no. Well,
He's gonna egg and Rusty Horn.
yeah.
Wow. All right. Gives a little bit of time for Paladin to potentially recover here. Sludge Belcher, a pretty good draw.
Yeah. I think it's a really good draw. Gives him just enough time to stabilize.
Sort of, but how do you deal with this egg? Do you just wait?
I wonder.
Do you hold off? Do you just attack it and just trade in so that way he can't abuse it against the Sludge Belcher?
I think you just play Sylvanas and then wait.
Play Sylvanas and wait. Oh, man.
Could steal Doomguard if he plays it next turn.
Yeah, I guess he can't technically kill you. So he's going to go for the kill plan. Alright. Sylvanas proves to be rather problematic in terms of playing the Doomguard because you can trade into Doomguard pretty easily.
But Voidwalker sort of puts a wrench in this plan because you can't kill the Voidwalker and the spawn from the egg and the Doomguard.
It's a lot of pressure, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. Peacekeeper. Hold on. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, you could do it, but you'd have to play the Peacekeeper or the Sludge Belcher. To
Well,
be
you
able
can
to live.
evaluate what the Sylvanas steals first.
Yeah.
You might be able to steal the Doomguard and then charge into the Ford.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I think you would actually want to play Sludge Belcher here. The Peacekeeper seems like something you want to draw, but I think you want to eliminate ways to die here.
Yeah. I think he is going to gauge.
In fact, he can guarantee a steal on the 4-4, a pretty healthy one too. So that might be the best option.
And then play Sludge Belcher. Seems like he's in a pretty good spot.
So then Reynad would have to tap. He had to get an Iron Beak Owl right here.
Very unlikely. Ooh.
Well, Power of Oming is what he needed a little bit earlier.
Just one turn ago, in fact.
If any of those minions stick though and he picks up a silence, it's still really possible for him to
Yeah.
come back here.
Can't count him out.
So then, does LonelyLink push for the kill? Because he's got a lot of damage.
Low
And
with
if he
that-
feels secure enough, he can go in for a for the pinch to try and end the game.
Well, I think that secures it. Because he can't, there's no way he can Silence as well as Doomguard, or Power Overwhelming in the same turn with Loatheb Battlecry.
Unless he just has Soulfire right there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, Nope.
All right, well, Paladin does weather the storm, and that's going to mean LonelyLink jumps up to a 1-0 lead. And Reynad's going to have to come back with the Fatigue Mage and the, well, the Handlock.
It didn't seem like he was really phased by that loss, so that's always a good sign.
Well, I think he knows that Paladin's pretty strong against shutting that aggression down. So
Yeah.
It's so big to get the Must for Battle and the Zombie Chow early on. And that's the difference between what we saw in the previous game, or previous series rather, with Tennis versus Quiet. So here we go, Fatigue Mage versus Handlock. Pretty sure that this one does end up favoring the Fatigue Mage. And if he takes this match, he's going to have a hard time winning the third match now, because I think the Priest does feel like it's really strong against Paladin nowadays.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You have to have a clear head going into a Freeze Mage matchup, because decisions can get a little bit tough. The game can get a little bit long. Fatigue Mage, because your main win condition is your opponent's fatigue, but also because it can fatigue you and your opponent, as well as spectators, casters, viewers, bystanders alike. Just very fatiguing altogether.
I feel tired listening to you explain it. Jeez.
I know.
The game hasn't
just
even
talking
started,
about
man.
Fatigue Mage just made
Relax.
me.
Have some fun, man.
Fatigue Mage.
All right, TJ. Well, if you don't want to cast this, I'll cast this one alone. Jeez.
No, man. I'm just gonna bring all the excitement that I possibly can to this next game.
You promise?
You're not even ready for it.
I am ready. I'm ready for all the energy that you can push out.
Okay.
The Mage versus Handlock is I like this matchup personally for Fatigue Mage, because there's a lot of ways that you can abuse like the draw of it, like the Coalite Oracle.
Yeah.
The big problem with Handlock though sometimes is if they rush out like a big minion and you just don't happen to have the removal. But Reynad does run 2 Polymorphs. He's got 2 Doomsayers, so if that gets silenced, he also has ways to like navigate through that. He's got Duplicate on taunts. He can Echo Medivh his big game hunters and whatnot. So
Two mind control techs as well.
right. I think it's just a very strong deck against it because of all the removal it has access to and the ways to copy it.
Yeah.
So LonelyLink, he knows what kind of mage this is, right? So what's the best way to go about it?
Be conservative with your. You have to either be super aggressive.
I think you should be really aggressive. I think you
Yeah.
should go as hard as you can for like a turn 4 play. If you had the opportunity to go for like an Ancient Watch of Silence, I think you should do it. Anything that you can kind of keep the pressure on,
Yeah.
because that's what this deck struggles with, like decks that can burst them down. Reynad ended the turn before pinging his opponent. Or maybe he didn't want to play around, he wanted to play around Molten Giants. We'll find out if he pings him this turn.
Just throw out the whoops just for
okay.
mind games.
So I guess he is playing around the lowering the health of Molten Giants.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he does pick up the Mountain Giant here, so.
Very cute. I guess he can tap and then coin out something. Still holding on to the coin. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
So now that he can force him to overdraw with the Coalite Oracle.
Jirax's Coin Inferno is the.
Not that practical in this matchup.
But, no, you said it's the strongest play in the game. Quoting, direct quote. Frodan, 2014, I think. Strongest play in the game.
It's a really sick play for sure.
It's also the most exciting play in the game. No,
It's
not
definitely
really.
something that you don't think about, but being able to put out the Inferno with Jirax is pretty nuts.
Yeah. A lot of you're a coin is undervalued kind of guy, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I think the coin is undervalued and overvalued sometimes. Some people hold on to it too long. Some people don't hold. Some people don't care about it enough, etc. Big Game Hunter gonna snipe this thing down,
Right on
and if
time.
I'm the Fatigue Mage, I'm gonna try to kill that thing as fast as I can, so he can't copy it whatsoever.
Yeah, duplicate Echo. You want to get rid of this as quick as possible.
I'd consider Hellfire here.
I mean, there's not really going to be much else that you're going to use it for. He's got to play something here.
Because now, Reynad can Doomsayer and Echo of Medivh. Oh my goodness.
That's a really strong play.
Because you collect it and you destroy the board. You keep the board clean, right? Or am I missing something? Is that like too? Is that too liberal with your Echo?
I don't think so. I mean, last game he did it with a Mind Control Tech and an Earthring Farseer, and I think BGH and Doomsayer in this matchup have a lot
Super
stronger of. Yeah, they're more valuable than what Mind Control Tech and Earthring Farseer were the last time he decided to use it. There's an option to be like greedy here and play
Yeah.
Sludge Belcher.
Collate Oracle makes him overdraw a lot.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's at 9, so it'd make him burn 2 cards. But your mana usage isn't as clean.
Again, this deck is just full of pretty tough decisions. It's
Well-
hard to decide when to get value out of.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
Second Big Game Hunter gives you flexibility to use against Giants. I really like that Reynad's refusing to attack. Because it just refuses to play into Molten Giant. He's never attacked the face. All damage done by the Warlock has been to himself.
It doesn't play into his win condition. There's no. Why is there a reason to do damage?
It's a good point.
I don't think you're ever gonna kill a handlock with just straight up damage as
The only damage
a
you have
fatigue
are
mage.
Frostbolts.
yeah.
Right.
That's not much reach. And later in the game, when you get to fatigue, you're either forcing the warlock to life tap every turn to be able to get into Molten Giant range, which gets him closer to fatigue, or later in the game, if he stays healthy, by the time he gets to Molten Giants, he'll be taking big chunks of fatigue. So he has to make decisions and awkward turns where he has to play Molten Giants and heal up to be able to survive the fatigue next turn. And by that time, the mage already has him right where he wants him.
It's such an ugly scenario. You just kill? You just let your Doomsday... Do you just let it go? You still have to play a minion so that way your hand doesn't overdraw.
Just let it go.
Deck.
Let it go.
So now you code Light Oracle, right?
Yep. Because you're overdrawing.
Oh man, what is
2
he
cards,
mill?
actually.
What do you think he's gonna mill?
Molten Giant and
Twilight Drake.
Sunfury Protector.
Oh, Iron Beak Owl is pretty good, so that way he can't silence his Doomsayer.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty effective card in this matchup, too.
Yeah. He's gonna lose 2 cards, by the way. He's gonna
Yeah,
lose
that's
the
what
one.
that's
he
why I
just
said
draw.
Molten Giant and Sunfury Protector.
He feels comfortable dropping a second Doomsayer. I think it's a little unnecessary. I think Death Lord is more than okay here.
Well, second Doomsayer, you're forcing your opponent to play cards.
Oh, yeah. He saw that his opponent wasn't willing to part with some cards.
Yeah.
Oh!
Dr. Boom! Oh, no.
That hurts.
That is...
Now, what's so funny is that people used to say burning cards don't really matter until it goes to the bottom of the
Yeah.
deck. But this deck wants you to get to that stage. Okay. Farseer being okay. It could, if it pulled like a Molten Giant, you'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, well, I didn't attack those faces for so long.
Yeah. I think Molten Giant might have been pretty decent there. I mean, either way, well, if
Yeah.
it pulled something
It would have been pretty decent.
pretty decent.
Yeah.
What other creatures there? He has one Mountain Giant, Twilight Drakes, and Molten Giants. Those are the only creatures he has left in his deck right now. Oh, no, and Taunts.
Yeah, he's
I guess
got
he should...
he's got Sun Fury Protectors. He probably has another Ancient Watcher. The game is still quite young. I bet they're both like about 15 cards in. Well, not both of them. Maybe a little bit deeper for the handlock. He's been tapping plus the Death Lords.
The game is young.
The game is young. And full of fatigue.
And full of joyous fatigue. Oh, there's a Mountain Giant. I mean, it's a threat, but you know it's just going to
There's Mountain Giant, but there's Big Game Hunter.
Yeah.
Reynad also put a Black Knight in his deck too. It's a very heads-up inclusion because Black Knight's starting to get really good considering how many druids and taunts there are nowadays.
And even in a lot of decks, you can get value out of it, like with Sledge Belchers.
Right, that was the case when Naxxramas first came out, but then people started fading Black Knight out because they wanted to have more flexible spots for Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
Be proactive about threats. I think it's giant time.
Yeah, it's just, well, no.
Oh, it's gonna get Hellfire. Okay. Well, one thing I advise against is coining out the Mountain Giant. You can coin out the Sludge Belcher.
Oh, do you advise against it?
I do advise against
Everybody's been in that point in their Hearthstone career. The first time they played
it.
Hand
A lot of
Lock
people have done it before.
where they tried to coin out the Mountain Giant.
I'm not proud to say that I did try that at one point.
Yep. Just a natural part of everybody's Hearthstone experience. You try and execute your own Sylvanas, and then you try and coin out your Mountain Giant.
Kappa. So, I wonder if Reynad's gonna just simply drop like a mind control tech this turn. Is he at 10 cards? Or is he at 9 cards too?
He's at 9.
Is that 9 cards?
He can
Okay,
just
so
pass.
he can actually hold.
Yeah. Oh, don't just pass. Well, ping the zombie show.
So it's okay. So let's start counting down. He's removed. He killed one giant with the BGH. There's no Twilight Jakes shown yet, so he's got 2 polymorphs that he needs to hold on to. And so he's got 3 removals for 5 threats right now.
Plus a Black Knight on top of that.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Black Knight's also pretty good. The big scary thing I think is Jiraxxus.
Yeah.
In fact, oh my gosh, actually, that's right. So does that mean LonelyLink should Jiraxxus next turn?
You know what?
Is like playing Jiraxxus the fastest way you can kill a Fatigue Mage?
Yeah. And he won't get to Molten Giants, but at this point, Reynad's been playing around it so much, I think you do have to Jiraxxus.
Yeah.
Because 6/6s can be really problematic, because it happens every turn. Can't get BGH.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah.
Use Polymorphs on that. He's got a pretty big hand already. It's not the best post-Jiraxxus hand, but, I mean, he has like an Anti-Healbot, Shadow Flame. Not that Shadow Flame is that useful in this matchup, but...
So now Reynad has to sort of be proactive about it because there's just too many 6/6s that'll be appearing.
Yeah. Oh, there's a chance that you can get through all 8 of Jiraxxus' hands charges. But, yeah, it does have to be proactive here. And he also has to worry about, well, no, not too much. Dying.
Who? LonelyLink? Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
This deck doesn't run fireballs.
Yeah, Frostbolt, like you said earlier, is the only reach.
Okay, so he can clear the board through a few different ways. Utilizing Dark Bomb seems to be a nice way to pace himself, so that way he doesn't just throw away his Shadow Flames. Still would have liked to see him toss out a Mountain Giant, though.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, he's worried about overextending on the board in case of the Doomsayer that he knows is there. But he does have an Owl, so maybe not so much. And he really wants to preserve his 6/6s here, because those are going to be the primary way he pushes through.
Well, I think he might be looking to use Black Knight here. I think he needs to get past the taunt.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden he's in a scenario where he needs to rush, doesn't he? Or maybe he feels like he might have an opportunity to just stall if he just draws a freeze with Doomsayer.
How do you rush, though? with this deck.
I don't know.
There's just
There's so many turns before Jiraxis starts decking out.
there's just nothing.
Let's say if he draws his second,
There's nothing
Yes.
that can stand up to the 6/6s.
Yeah.
What to do?
So like every single turn, there's just not anything that he can answer the 6/6s with, other than
I was
like,
also
big card removal.
I was a little bit questioning like why he was using his health so liberally, but I forgot that LonelyLink also has he also has an antique heal bot.
What to do?
So
What to do?
Now going back to the last turn, I think that even though overextending could be an issue,
right, he's technically dead to a Fireball Frostbolt.
yeah, Mountain Giant is gonna just become harder and harder to use as these turns go on, because he can't effectively make it cheaper with card draw anymore with the hero power. Okay, well he's starting to run a little bit thin on removal.
So what could happen eventually is LonelyLink runs out of cards, but I don't think that'll be the case. His hero power is just too strong. Like from here, I feel like it's almost easy cruising because eventually Mage will run out of cards, right?
Yep.
Well, let's see. He doesn't have an easy way to knock off this Black Knight without trading in a lot of his minions.
I mean, you can defend her, Vargas.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the kind of thing you want to do right now.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my gosh, if Reynad picks up his second Frostbolt,
That's bold.
he's dead.
That is very bold.
Whoa. Oh man.
Well, we can be sure anti-heal bot's
So,
going to come out
yeah.
next turn.
Yeah, definitely. And then probably he's just gonna Doomsayer and Hero Power to face. He's also got Flame Strike afterwards, so.
Well, this is one of those rare situations where Molten Giant is playable.
Yeah, no kidding. So he can anti-heal bot, Hero Power, and Silence. Have a pretty crazy board. The Infernal is also outside of the big game Hunter range too.
He's got to play anti-heal bot here.
Yeah, of course, he
Okay.
definitely will. There's no question. He's been baiting it up the entire time.
Yeah. He thought about it for a second, but I guess just trying to make sure that he's covering all his bases there. That's a pretty timely Flame Strike. Well, actually,
Well, he already
got it,
has one. Yeah. Keep in mind that it's 9 damage. You know, it's that will be coming down next turn. The hero power and the weapon from Jiraxis. That's still 12 damage sitting in the hand.
And he doesn't have like anti-heal bot, duplicate, Echo of Medivh. So, and you look at his next turn play after the Flame Strike, it's like ping and then polymorph the new 6/6.
Right.
And that just
I wonder.
doesn't seem that strong.
He really needed that Doomsayer to go off.
Yeah.
But even if it did go off, what would his initiative be on the board? It'd be a big game hunter. You know, he wants to save that. It's handlock.
He'd be almost in the exact same spot, except he would be taking 6
What
less
to
damage
do? What to
the next
do?
turn.
I guess we found out one of the ways to kill off this fatigue mage is definitely to rush like a Jiraxis.
Yeah.
It just puts too much pressure on.
If you get your axes out early, it's actually really strong because 6/6 every turn is really problematic. Even decks
Well,
that put out some pressure, quick pressure, I think don't have as much strength as Jiraxis. Hard to say. But this definitely is a strong point.
Okay, well, Ancient Watcher doesn't really do anything. Would like to see a Mountain Giant come out here. I think he's waited long enough.
Yeah.
You know your opponent has another big game hunter, though. That's the thing.
Well, actually, you might actually hold off.
What's the point of holding on to it?
to play something to answer the BGH that
Yeah.
is there. But I guess he would assume that he would have the second 6/6 even if the BGH did come out.
Sure, sure.
But we'll get polymorphed here.
So he's hoping that Draxus will take this damage. So he'll be at 7 health, or yeah, after he pings him. Still going to be short a little bit. The Infernals are just starting to rack up too much, though. Shadow Flame to avoid taking damage. Pretty good play so far.
Yeah.
Still looking for a way that maybe Reynad, because I feel like he's hanging in there, but
I think
Handlock's just getting too far ahead.
I feel like attacking the Doomsayer is actually pretty smart here.
Kill off any Echo plays.
Yeah.
Second Frostbolt.
Because especially with Loatheb in hand, you feel like you're in a pretty good spot. So trying to get rid of any way that he could have a comeback.
So he can do 7 damage in 1 turn. So can you do 5 within the next one?
I wonder.
What if he plays Blizzard and like?
It might just Frostbolt face, just to avoid damage.
Sure.
Buy some time. I mean, he does only have 2 charges of weapon left.
Can't believe it's been like 5 or 6 turns since Jiraxis came out.
Yeah.
Twilight Drake, it's just another threat. Surprised that he's not pushing for Loatheb here.
He's just maybe holding on to it until the very last possible.
Yeah, but Loatheb would have done effectively the same thing too.
True. Protect his minions on board as well.
Yeah, I think he could have sealed a guaranteed win here with Loatheb, but
It would have avoided Flame Strike. Flame Strike right now is going to be pretty big.
right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's a Flame Strike can clear the board, but he just has to stall for a little bit more time, right? This Frostbolt is just his stall mechanism. It's also 3 damage that he loses. It's really painful.
I think he's okay with pinging because he knows he has the anti-heal bot to heal up the damage from the Infernal plus some next turn. And I think he really needs to save it. He thought about Mortal Coiling his own Infernal there for a second, knowing it's going to get pinged down, but you don't want to get closer to fatigue.
Okay, well, Echo is kind of useless anyways. The Loatheb, though, really problematic because he can't actually survive anymore because he used to be able to have the mana to Frostbolt something.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. So that's going to wrap up game 2. And, well, despite the fact that I thought that Fatigue Mage had a pretty good chance against Handlock, forgot about the chances of Draxus really coming into play here.
And that's a good call by LonelyLink to just play it as soon as he possibly can.
And it's like, it's the final push too. It's like, the fact that Jiraxis used up all damage of its weapons, and LonelyLink's 1 game away from going to the Saturday main event.
Yeah,
qualifying over Reynad. This is a finish line.
You can see he's really focused as well. He gave a quick fist pump in celebration there, but definitely focused up and played really well in the first series. Played so well this one. 1 game away from qualifying.
That's right. That's right.
And I mean, there is a small cash prize as well for every week for this tournament. So $500 prize pool for the top 4, I believe. So winning not only guarantees you the spot tomorrow, but it also gives you a little bit of cash. And
yeah, so going into game 3, we have Priest versus Paladin, and I feel like LonelyLink, he's probably going to win this one 3-0. There's a pretty strong likelihood. I really like Priest's chance against Paladin.
Yeah.
I know Paladin can always overwhelm Priest with the Quartermaster plays, but I just really like how Priest is equipped to defeat a lot of what Paladin has with Shadow Madness plays. Now that there's a lot of smaller creatures in Paladin, you always can mind control Tyrion. You always have really strong abilities because to use like Cabal Shadow Priest on good targets. It's a lot of good stuff. Paladin, you can overwhelm if you get a really strong tempo board lead, but it's a little bit tougher. So I give the edge to Priest here.
You can also deny a turn 2 hero power with a Northshire Cleric, turn 1 Northshire Cleric.
That's true, right? Just a Northshire Cleric stops your hero powers from
Yeah.
going up.
Which
So.
it's not game changing, but it's just really annoying. to
The
have
things
to deal
that
with.
can change are, of course, big quartermaster boards. True server
Yeah.
champion early on can also dictate the state of the board if Priest gets a pretty rocky start. And, of course, you also have the ability to just go for big sweeps with equality consecration. So there are ways for Paladin. There's definitely a lot of ways for Paladin to win this matchup. It's a good two class to fight against. I like Paladin versus Priest.
Well, this is a decent size board here. Or it's decent. Okay, we're going back to us. Did Reynad do his research earlier on and see what type of priest this is from LonelyLink? Because
I
it's
think so.
okay.
I mean, I think these both the players were like going back and studying the VODs from the first round.
There was a situation last week when I was watching the VODs where Pinpingho didn't do the research on Delay and got surprised by the Arcane Golem, the Arcane Golem combination. But I mean, especially for him, since it was so late for him. Sometimes it can be hard to. You want to catch a nap in between your games instead of going back and tediously watching the VODs to get exact deck lists.
Yeah,
but just a little bit of watching earlier on could have known that this was indeed a Death Rattle Priest.
Yeah. Well, I think he definitely has been going back and watching, and vice versa. I think when you see all those kinds of cards from Mage, you know that's Fatigue Mage for sure. You saw the games go to distance.
Definitely.
That's why he knew to play Drax as soon as possible, and ends up being a way for him to win the game. So well done. LonelyLink's playing really good, and now he has to just win one more game in order to advance. And if he does, then we will go straight to Gooby Sencho versus Tennis, which should be also a fun match too, because
You just resorted to calling him just Tennis?
yeah, it's just Tennis.
Okay.
I don't want to call him UNC or Unk or 23.
Uncle Tennis.
It's just Tennis.
Uncle Tennis 23.
It's just Tennis. I can make a series of commercials with Cloud9 members talking about that.
Okay.
It's just Tennis.
Just go for it, man. Uncle Tennis 23, I'm going to call him. Sorry.
Well, hope you guys have enjoyed the match. We're obviously stalling because we're waiting for the lag or some disconnect issues to get solved out, because apparently there were some issues. And we're just trying to get back into the game. I think we're about to begin, though. Paladin versus Priest. One more time, it's going to start off. Reynad needs to win the next two games, or else he is out in the open finals before we go to the match day event.
I will fight with
And it can be pretty heartbreaking to go out at this stage, because this is the continuation of the 700-player Open Cup on Sunday.
Oh, man.
So making it this far and not really coming away with anything would be pretty heartbreaking for either of these players. And
The
Reynad's
hands look
one on the
very
ropes.
different now. Reynad originally had Knife Jugglers and Mustard for battle, and then LonelyLink was a guy that had like the Injured Blade Masters.
He had Injured Blade Master, Dark Cultist, and
Right,
Root
it's a
Order.
little bit of a slower start. Now he gets a very quick start. Holy cow.
Oh.
Well, the good news for Reynad fans is that he still has a chance to kill off with the True Silver Champion in 2 turns, but if there's another Death Rattle of some sort,
Another Death Rattle.
but this
Plus
is
a
the
Power Word Shield.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, he does have a quality consecration, but it's
Yeah.
still quite a few turns off from that.
What if he had qualities now?
Yeah. I like that. Because Priest doesn't really have any. It's not like Zoo or Hunter where they can just spam
I think
Death Rattles.
I think it's a little unnecessary to do it at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, Power Word Shield on the Loot Hoarder. Oh man, he's about to get punished big time.
Well, you got to play around one or the other.
Yeah, but I think the True Silver Champion is more likely than it's just because like True Silver is one of your best cards against Priest for sure early on.
And there's also the potential that if you're Undertaker survives past that, then he can hide it behind a Sledge Belcher. Not only hides it, but also buffs it.
Right.
And then you have Sylvanas and Dr. Boom. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to make that Undertaker really problematic. But you also have to keep in mind that Reynad's already at 17 health. I mean, that's not usually an issue when you're playing against Priests, because they aren't really going to be able to...
Yeah, he's just like bluffing his turn 4 because he has nothing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, Quartermaster in the hand. Not really gonna do much, but maybe Lotheb can. If he can take advantage of the curve early on and answer Sludge Belcher or whatever minions come out here.
Yes, Death Rattle Priest, it's really interesting, because it's not like the other Death Rattle decks. It's like you're using your Death Rattles early on just to stabilize. You're not using it to win. Because it's pretty rare, it seems, that as a Death Rattle Priest, you just snowball the game out of control.
Well, because it doesn't really compound its advantage.
Yeah.
Whoa, he's got Muster for Battle and Quartermaster synergy. It's gonna be coming up soon. Not sure exactly when though. Is it Pilot Shredder? I think so.
Yeah. And he wants to set up for a same turn.
And then
Muster.
I guess the
Reporting for duty.
Ball Shadow Priest can take the 1/1. It's just the best way to deal with it for now. See what you draw off this Loot Hoarder. Mind Control pretty effective, generally speaking,
Yeah.
against Paladin.
Stealing Tyrion's a pretty big deal, because a lot of the times the Paladin actually doesn't have a way to deal with its own Tyrion.
Right.
Especially nowadays. There's still some Paladins that run Ironbeak Owl, but Ironbeak Owl isn't even the most effective removal, because you still have to deal with the 6/6 that's on the board.
Sure.
Doesn't get killed by BGH, so
Okay, so he's going to play the value in the long game. Have the Cabal Shadow Priest steal something of notoriety.
Equality Consecrate, well, double Equality Consecrate in his hand. So he can be pretty
Yeah.
liberal with his equalities if he so chooses.
Yeah, it feels like it. It paves a way for a pretty clean turn 8.
Yeah.
For whatever comes out. Maybe the Pilot Shredder can deal with it. But is there an alternative?
Yeah, well, he can muster for battle and set up for next turn, but I feel like that's a little bit wasteful.
How so?
Oh, it just seems like there's a lot of, well, not necessarily, I guess. It just seems like with a board already there, it could be pretty easy to deal with the...
Let me think.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, if he plays Muster for Battle and consecrates, he clears the board.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. Yeah.
You can do that without giving up quality.
Oh,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Reporting for duty.
Well,
Must move quickly.
So, like, now Cabal Shadow Priest can't be played. It's 8 mana.
Yeah,
Suddenly, that card seems balanced.
it makes it
Oh man,
It makes
Dr.
his
Doom gets
Quartermaster
denied.
awkward next turn, though, as well, because he can't weave in an extra hero power.
So I guess he has to play Sylvanas then. Or he wants to play Cabal Shadow Priest and Hero Power, which is okay.
Ah, is it, though?
It's not as strong, but you know, you're just seizing back control. I like the Sylvanas play a little bit more.
Yeah.
Only because I know what's in the hand, though.
Yeah, you can't bank on drawing
wait.
Circle of Healing, but it feels like without a way to deal with a lot of big, like a lot of little creatures on the board, that you want to save the Alchemy for the combo. But that's wishful thinking.
I think Sylvanas is actually a lot more powerful. Even if he doesn't have Quartermaster, it's like you can answer whatever comes out in the next turn pretty easily.
Must consider.
It's just bad because if you play Sylvanas and then you just suicide everything and kill off Sylvanas, it's like, well, you didn't gain anything.
Yeah.
It relieves the board pressure though. So what if you just attack into Sylvanas everything and drop Tyrion here?
What about just a quality throw and then Nerubian, and then kill off whatever duty steals?
Oh, that's also creative. I like that. Quality. Suicide the Nerubian Weblord.
But I kind of like yours better because you're getting Tyrion out before mind control is even possible. So it's really tough to answer.
Yeah.
So I actually like yours better. Because that is a big deal. Because one of the biggest things you're worrying about is that mind control, and now he's got to like stall for a couple turns. This is a good way to
So
sort of
then
get back.
Tyrion can hopefully have effect
Mhm.
before anything happens. Mind control. It's 2 turns.
It's gonna get Shadow or Death, but
Yeah, I think you have. I think you also can try getting away with just letting it go, but I think it's better off to just deal with Tyrion. Still 15 damage though. It's nuts.
yeah.
And you used a premium removal spell.
Well, the alternative would be to just Dr. Boom. He'd be making really good use of the Divine Shield on Tyrion.
Yeah, I don't think you want to give it any more value than it already has to. But if you play Sludge Belcher or Arcanine just dies to the weapon.
You can just heal pass. Dr. Boom next turn.
It's fair. It's definitely fair. Alright, Knife Juggler. Pretty decent way to start rebuilding for sure.
Yeah. Well, his hand is actually pretty situational right now. He's got the double equality clogging it up. He's got Quartermaster with no dudes and no muster for battle. So Knife Juggler is his only play.
I guess so. I'm not really seeing an alternative that's much better for Reynad here.
Knife Juggler and Dude. I mean, I guess he could Aldor Peacekeeper the Sludge Belcher to just avoid taking a little bit more damage, because he's starting to get low, but it's not really that big of a deal. Because we know he has lay on hands, so he's not going to really be in any danger of dying to the priest anytime soon.
Must move quickly.
Alright, well, the question is he add a Quartermaster with just for a 3-3? I think I wouldn't mind, but then you're expecting the Quartermaster to get stolen.
To arms, men.
Yeah, Quartermaster one of the best targets for Cabal Shadow Priest.
Oh my, that's a... Oh, he doesn't have 10 mana. Okay. Thought that was a board clear.
Well, the Quartermaster's not going anywhere.
Fair enough. So you're okay with just playing
Well,
something
no,
else
I
like
don't know.
Dr. Boom? I still think... it's just so awkward mana-wise.
Yeah.
If you play Arcanine, you're only going to have 3 mana left. Shadow Madness leaves you 5. Cabal leaves you 3.
Well, you're not worried too much about the value of the Knife Juggler next turn. So you're not really too concerned about killing it. Because you know that if you played Quartermaster this turn, that he didn't have muster for battle.
I think this is okay.
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Oh! Well, it's reducing the chance that it's just going to get juggled down.
Well, I think his plan might be just to kill Paladin. Reynad might die from just lack of health.
Oh yeah, because if he uses his weapon to kill even just a Quartermaster here, that damage is going to start to add up. And he could start pushing with Arcanine.
Well, actually, if he might kill him.
Oh yeah, that's true, because he wouldn't have a way. Wow. Okay, I'll do a Peacekeeper. It's pretty necessary right now.
Yeah, if he didn't, then he would be in danger of dying.
Yeah. Shielded Mini Bot, also a pretty good target for Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah, it's actually a great target for sure. Oh,
Oh,
pretty
these
good juggle.
juggles! Wow.
Very nice. Undertaker, pretty good, but
Ah, Cabal Shadow
I
Priest,
think-
Shadow Madness.
yeah, I think this is a time to dissect the board, and I'm pretty sure this is the final push that'll break the Paladin's back. Like, Reynad needs lay on hands right now. Also, this was definitely a sequencing error. He got a little bit too gung-ho. Needed to Shadow Madness first. He could have gone for some pretty strong play here, but instead has gotten punished. Or sorry, not punished, but lost an opportunity.
Yeah.
So Reynad's only play right now is to either give up an equality and make it a lot less painful, or to pay the price and just let it go. But I think Paladin's here just bullied, and I'm looking at LonelyLink to just win in the next couple of turns here.
Yeah, he really needs lay on hands off the top.
Can you do anything with his last weapon of charge? Don't think so. Let's see.
You could start pushing with Akanai.
Yeah, I was
Akanai
looking for a
circle.
lethal opportunity, but he's a little bit short of mana-wise.
Well, you can Akanai circle and then go face with the shielded mini bot, but that's again wishful thinking. Because he'd put him at 3.
So, I mean, Reynad might even die just from the boom bots.
Yeah.
You know, he's got big game hunter. He's got defender of Argus. So he's got some stall. His opponent has the Akanai Soul Priest and Circle combo.
And this is the only way that he can live here, though.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So he's gonna big game hunter and then defender of Argus and then kill off the Undertaker.
My shield for Argus.
And he's gonna pray. He's gonna pray that his opponent doesn't have a way to kill him. Yeah, pretty sure this is game. If these boom bots land. Does he not want to use Akanai Soul Priest first? If you Akanai Soul Priest, you're gonna kill everything off simultaneously.
Yeah, and then the boom bots would hit face. Well,
So
oh no, well,
no,
the
it would also.
Pilot of Shredder.
The Pilot Shredder was played first though, before the boom bots.
So the death.
So the
Rider
Death
would
Rattle
trigger first.
triggers actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is basically the same thing. Wait. Okay, he did 5 damage, so it wouldn't have mattered, but
That's enough damage though, because that means he can't use the weapon to clear.
he needs lay on hands then right now.
Right now.
Is it worth playing the Northshire Cleric just for the extra bit of damage? Suppose so. Nope. And I guess that's it for
Wow.
Reynad's run. It was a pretty long one, but in the end, LonelyLink's day is today. And he is going to be going to Saturday's match day to face off against, well, the 6 players that are joined and 1 more player in the next match.
And a sigh of relief and happiness spreads across LonelyLink's face. Really impressive. 3-1 first series, 3-0 in the second series. This is probably the most 3-0s that I think we've seen.
Yeah, pretty decisive.
In an open finals. So, but congratulations to him. We're going to be seeing him tomorrow. He's going to get an opportunity to play against a lot of big names and strong players.
Going to be tough. There's a really strong field of players with Savitz, Amaz coming back, from last week, and of course
Yeah.
we have Gara, Kit Kats, and Ties. It's going to be a really, really
Insane.
strong.
Insane, I
Yeah,
think is the
pretty
word.
tough competitively. And of course we do have one more match, guys. Don't go anywhere. We have Gooby versus Tennis. The open bracket hero versus the businessman.
Bring in the business.
Bring in the business.
Gooby the Executioner.
It's going to be coming up in a few minutes. We also want to remind you about all the great deals that are going on with our great sponsors over at Cooler Master, Newegg, Crucial, and Western Digital Storage. Check out all the stuff to support them, to support us. We also have Plantronics as a sponsor who hopped on at the end of the season. They've been giving away headsets. They've been giving away packs, expert packs, that's what they're called, for the core set. So if you're a Hearthstone, you're new to Hearthstone, you want to get some extra free gifts and packs to help you with your collection, go ahead and find out how. I believe there's going to be a link, whether it's on the Twitch channels or it's on the broadcast itself during the commercials. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few minutes, and when we come back, we're going to have the last match here of the day between Tennis versus Gooby Sencho. The winner gets the last remaining spot for Saturday's main event.